Hey there, it's Jenny. Just as a reminder, if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed. I am making a mini album today. I'm not entirely sure that I have ever made an album for a mini album or a video for a mini album. I am using these acrylic tags I got on Etsy. I will link them up for you in the comments below. And they were super inexpensive, and I really loved the clear acrylic and thought it would be fun to make a travel album. So I've cut down pieces of white cardstock to match the size of the album. And I'm also using the Let's Go collection from Simple Stories. I've cut a few tags from the patterned paper as well. I really liked that yellow with the geo tags and also then the pink map. This is kind of an interesting album. You can see I've already adhered photos to the paper, or not adhered them yet, but I've put them like where they're going to go, like, oh, that photo will go with that paper, that this, that, and the other. And then on the back side, I will adhere white cardstock to the tags that have patterned paper. I am punching the holes in the top. The clear acrylic tags have a hole at the top, and so I'm placing my holes on the patterned paper or the cardstock in the same place, and then I'll use a binder ring to adhere all of these together. Now I'm going to go through the ephemera from the Let's Go collection, and this album is about a week-long baseball tournament that my son participated in Arizona. We live in California. So it's a fun activity. It was a great week, but it wasn't a vacation per se. It's not like, oh, we went to the Statue of Liberty, we went to the Empire State Building, that type of thing. So while it was a trip and we traveled, it wasn't exactly a vacation. So I want to choose elements that go along with the overall theme. And so I've chosen geotags and driving and those kinds of things to use as embellishments. However, let me state for the record early on that this isn't going to be overly embellished. I'm keeping it fairly simple because there's a lot of photos. It's going to be really thick, and there will be quite a bit of journaling as well. So you can see for the cover, or basically the cover, I have layered together a couple of those die cuts on the cover. I love how it turned out. And then I adhered the cardstock to the back and just trimmed off where they overhang. It didn't matter at all if it was perfect, because there's going to be so many pages and this will be so thick, perfection would not be noticed at all. Now I will adhere the photos to each of the pages, the fronts, and then the back sides will mostly have journaling, although a few of them will have just embellishments, because I don't know that I have enough to say for every single photo that we're including. Now, only a few of these photos will get embellishments on the front. Again, like I said, I'm keeping it pretty simple because you will get it here shortly. There are a lot of photos that I'm including. Now I did trim down the piece of paper from the Let's Go collection that has a whole bunch of tags printed on it. Now they're not quite as big as the tags and the cover. You could see that if you were looking up there at the top, but I still thought they were really, really fun, and they made fun little accents in between the pages with the photos. So I'm not doing anything else to those. I'm not embellishing them. I'm not adding journaling. They're just in there for just, like, oh, flip the page, there's one, flip the page, then you can see another photo, and so on and so forth. I'm not matting any of my photos. They're just going right on top of the tags that I trimmed out. I literally, for these tags, I just trimmed them with my paper trimmer the same. I think it's 2.75 inches wide to 5 inches long. And then I cut the edges off using the acrylic tags as my guide. Now you can see right here, I'm going to adhere this tag right there on top of the photo. Like I said, there won't be too many that have embellishments on the actual photo, just because I don't have that many of the die cuts or the journaling bits, that's what some of these are, to use. So not every photo needs one, and not every photo has room for embellishment either. So it's kind of the logic here in all of that. So as soon as I've got the photos down, I'm just putting them on the binder ring just in order to keep them all set. I had set them up in terms of the order that I wanted the photos to go in the mini album initially, so I have that already ready. But so then I added that and I am happy with it. So I don't want to get screwed up by not just having these all on the binder ring and having to go through all of this again and do that work again. The organizing part of it, while I don't mind it, sometimes it overwhelms me because there's so many photos. So since I already did that and I already went through it, I don't want to do it again. For whatever reason, the big geotags in this collection, I think they make really cool like anchors or backgrounds for my little clusters, even if I only include a couple of things. I don't know why, they just look really cool right there. Now, again, we're just keeping it real simple, adding an embellishment here or there, and just going forward that way. It just keeps the focus on the photos and the stories, and then those little few embellishments, basically one for every layout if I want to think of it that way. It just keeps it really nice and truly makes the layout better versus taking away from the photos. See what I mean about the geotag? That looked so cool right there, right? All right, so then when I do adhere the patterned paper with the white cardstock on the back, I do that because I'm going to have journaling that goes in the back, and I'll be printing it on the clear sticker paper, and I want to be able to read it. On the patterned paper, I probably wouldn't be able to, and yes, I could print it on cardstock. That's absolutely possible, but I knew that that would get really complicated, like having two different documents going and this, that, and the other, and so I just decided I was going to do it all on clear sticker paper. So that's why I needed to back those patterned papers with white cardstock. Now, some of the photos are horizontal and some of them are vertical, and so I've just made the decision that I think that they look great either way. And I loved that tag, the luggage tag. I thought it was super cute, and I thought that it would make a great accent just like those smaller tags as well. Now, also, I had purchased the journaling tags, and so some of those are going on the back side, and then I will layer my journaling right on top of those. And I think it'll look really cute, and it'll just pull the whole look together and make it very much more cohesive. Now, like I said, some of these do have embellishments on them, like for the photos, and I think that it just really makes it very cute and makes it stand out. Now, again, these are what, 2.75 by 5. These are very small little canvases. So again, if I'd used a much bigger canvas for my photos, it would be different and it would require a lot more embellishing, or at least a lot more embellishing would work. But in this case, keeping it simple is definitely the best policy. I'm getting very close to the end, and the majority of the work here will be done. Look at that. Oh my God, so cute. Those things go together so well. Look at that little tag and then the luggage cluster on top of it. That looks amazing. Now on the back side of this other tag, I will have that big journaling piece as well. It just looks so stinking cute. I love it. Now this is actually the last page, and so I thought it would be fun to have all of these different little bits and pieces, like the gas pump for the driving home, the road trip, the gas pump, they all go together so well. Now I am using the clear glue again for the thinner embellishments, or quite frankly, if I'm just lazy and don't feel you like using the tape runner, it's great because as long as you use just a smaller amount, there's no warping. The glue dries clear in case any of it pulls out, like comes out of the edges or whatever. So it's pretty great. All right, so now the album is mostly finished, but I do still need to add a few more embellishments, and I do still need to add the journaling. So I will type all of my journaling out on the computer and then use the clear journaling paper in order to add that to the back sides of those. Now you can see right there, that's where I've printed the journaling. I just used 2 columns in my document, and then now I'm trimming apart each page's piece, and I'm doing it as close to the words as possible because I don't want the extra sticker paper showing any more than it needs to. It's not really a big deal. It's just that if I want to add embellishments or anything like that, I don't want the actual clear sticker paper to take away from it because it is glossy and those types of things. So now I've decided that I'm going to, when I have the journal or the album open like it is right now, that I want the journaling to be right side up so that when you have it open, you can read it just like that. So that's what I'm going to do on all of the pages except for the pages that have horizontal photos. Then I'll do it horizontally so that you can read it when you've rotated the photo so that, you're looking at it and you can read it and look at the photo, and they're both the right side up. So you can see they're pretty small little journaling bits. They're mostly related to the photo at hand, but then they also sort of have overarching, like they tell the story of the week as well at the same time. So like it might be a snippet from that photo, but there may be other contextual items that definitely tell a little bit of the story as well. Now some of the photos, they just really don't need journaling necessarily, so there's a couple of them that don't have it, mostly just because like maybe it's 2 photos from one game of my son pitching. I didn't really need to talk about both of them. I just liked both photos and I wanted to include them. So for example, maybe I'll add the journaling to the first page, but not the second, and so on and so forth. But there's only a couple of those that don't have journaling, and so then I added different things back there instead of journaling. So embellishments, or I think that's basically it. Embellishments, maybe I used one of the pages that has the like a blank journaling tag because it was cute, but that type of thing. Now you can see right there how I also, in a couple of cases, added the clear sticker paper on top of those little journaling bits. They work perfectly together, honestly. I was a little bit nervous about the spacing, and I needn't be. They worked really well together. Now the other thing I want to say is that in a couple of these I got ahead of myself and I wasn't really paying attention to where I was putting these down, and it worked out okay. Like the sticker paper peeled right up and then it still stuck to another page. So it really wasn't that big of a deal. Now, there wasn't a lot of time in between me putting it down and then me peeling it back up. I mean, there was some, but it wasn't like days or anything. It was like 15 minutes or something, and it came up just wonderfully. So there was nothing to be worried about there. That was nice too, because I feel like the sticker paper is pretty forgiving, and I enjoyed that. Now, I did about 1.5 pages of journaling, so the blank half of the second page, I have saved that and I will use the other half going forward. There are definitely little tiny snippets that get thrown away, like, a margin or the last inch of a piece of paper or something. But by and large, I'm trying my hardest to use the majority of these clear sticker sheets because they are more expensive than regular paper, and I don't want to have to spend more money than I need to, right? All right, so let's put the journaling on top of this little card. You see it right there? It's so cute. And look at how it all just goes together so wonderfully. It's just such a these cards are really very useful, and because most of them have like a grid background, it's not that big of a deal at all, even if you had bigger journaling than I have used right here. Now this is one of the pages where I'm just leaving that blank tag, but I'm actually not going to leave it blank. I will go ahead and write in, like, I don't know, something about the 14U team or something like that. I just wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to put on there, so I figure I'll use alphabet stickers going forward. But I need to think on that a little bit longer because I'm not 100% sure. Now I have a few of the last smaller die cuts, so I decided that I was going to go back and add them to a few of the different journaling pages if there was room or if it was necessary, those types of things, just to make sure that it looked really cute. Now this one, I had that little tag and I put it on there, but it still needed something else. So I pulled out the VW bus and layered it on top of it and allowed it to hang off the page so I could trim it, and it turned out so cute. Like, it was just the perfect way to embellish it. Same thing with this little tag. I did the same thing. I just let it hang over and then trimmed the edge off. It didn't need to be anything crazy, just a little something. Really gave it some interest and made it a lot cuter. And again, nothing complicated. These are all simple little things, just adding, one die cut here, one die cut there. And then I will pull out from my stash some enamel dots. I think we've talked about this in the past. I have so many enamel dots from different kits and different purchases and things like that, that I've just decided I'm going to start using those on my projects to add a little bit of extra texture. And so that's what I did here. I pulled out some really old enamel dots, and I'm just going to add them to the journaling pages just to add a little bit of interest. The journaling pages without die cuts or the journaling pages with. And I'm not really too worried. Like some of the pages, they may look exactly the same, and some of the pages, they may be totally different. But I figured that they're really not noticeable enough for it to be a big deal. Like they're a pretty minor little detail, but they add, like I said, a little bit of texture, a little bit of interest, and then I'm using up super old supplies in my stash. Now this was one of the really fun ones. I placed that little die cut at an angle, just added a few little dots. Super cute, turned out great, and I am betting you guys have some enamel dots in your stash too that you've tucked away in a drawer or something like that. All right, so now let's just go ahead and flip through the mini album, and then that's it. Thanks so much, guys, for stopping by and watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment box below, and I will do my best to get back to you. Thanks so much, and make it a great day.